Okay, so let's take a look at number 23. A physician ordered 400 milligrams of dobutamine and 250 mLs of D5W to infuse at 4 micrograms per kilogram per minute per infusion pump. Every time we see infusion pump, that's our milliliters per hour every time. That's going to be our rate. Okay, so I know I have to find my answer in milliliters per hour if they're going to ask for an infusion rate. The client weighs 70 kilograms. What is the correct IV rate in milliliters per hour? Oh, and we found that through the infusion pump, but they're telling it to us anyway. Milliliters per hour, round to the nearest whole number. Okay, so taking a look, our formula that we like is we take our rate divided by our medication multiplied by our volume. And some students are like, oh, it's kind of like DHS. And that's almost like the premise looks a lot like DHS. It looks really great. You can think of it kind of like as DHS's cousin. They look really similar. And so what they're telling us is, hey, we have 4 micrograms per kilogram per minute. And so for every 1 kilogram that the patient weighs, give them 4 micrograms and give it to them every minute. Well, we want this in milliliters per hour. We have micrograms, we have kilograms, we have minutes. None of those fit the bill here. Okay, so the first thing we have to find out is how much medication are we giving them per minute? Yeah, we know it's 4 micrograms per kilogram per minute, but how much? To find how much, we can say, okay, well, we have 4 micrograms, and for every 1 kilogram that the patient weighs, we give them 4 micrograms. We can agree on that. For every 1 kilogram that the patient weighs, we give them 4 micrograms. If we set it up this way, and we drop these units down, and we plug in what the patient weighs. Patient weighs 70 kilograms. We can plug this in down here. So we have 70 kilograms. And we don't have a value for micrograms. So we want to find out how much medication we're giving them total in the minute. And I can plug in my X, and I can do a ratio proportion. And if you like doing it this way, that's absolutely excellent. It works every time. If you don't like ratio proportions, or if you want a faster way to do it, you could take the 4 micrograms and just directly multiply by the patient's weight. The patient weighs 70 kilograms, so we'll take our 4 times 70, and we'll get 280. And so we have to measure out 280 micrograms to give to the patient for every 1 minute. We never touch this minute here, so it stays. So we have 280 micrograms per minute, and we got rid of that ugly kilograms in this 3 slashes back, and it's now it looks a lot better at 280 micrograms per minute, and it kind of looks like a rate, like a typical rate. And it is a rate for 280 micrograms per minute. For every 1 minute that goes by, we give them 280 micrograms. Our formula, it's in milliliters per hour, so we have to turn this into per hour. That's one thing that we have to do. Well, we'll also take a look at, with this rate over medication times volume, the rate here, if the rate is in milligrams, the medication has to be in milligrams. If the rate's in micrograms, the medication has to be micrograms. Our medication here, it's in milligrams, and we've been working with micrograms, so we have to convert something. What we could do is we can convert our micrograms to milligrams. And to convert it to milligrams, I always prefer to write it out on my quiz, on my exam, just as, a little handy-dandy cheat sheet, as a handy-dandy compass. My units for the metric system, I've got base unit grams, kilograms on the left, milligrams right next to the grams, and then micrograms at the very, very end. And so it's kind of like that song that goes to the left, to the left. Every time I go to the left, we're breaking up. That song's about breakup. Every time we go to the right, it's only right that we get back together. We're multiplying by 1,000. And so I'm going from micrograms to milligrams. I'm going from to left. I'm going to the left. And so I'm dividing by 1,000. I'll take my 280, divide by 1,000, and that gives me 0.28 milligrams. So we're doing 0.28 milligrams every minute. Okay, now that I've got 0.28 milligrams per minute, for my formula, it has to be per hour. So how do I change this 0.28 milligrams per 1 minute to 60 minutes, to an hour? What I could do is I could say, okay, if I drew this out this way, And excuse like the messy paper because I've got previous writing on it. If we take this ID and we say, oh, well, it's 0.28 milligrams, and that's 1 minute, and I add another 0.28 milligrams, that's another minute, and I can keep going and going, 0.28 milligrams, so I can get to 60 minutes, so I can get to the hour. I want to find out how much medication this patient's getting in an hour. To find this, I multiply my bottom by 60. The long way is writing up 0.28 plus 0.28 plus 0.28 plus 2, and keep, until you hit 60. Or you can multiply top and bottom by 60. Once you do that, let's take a look. We've got 0.28 times 60 gives us 16.8. So we have 16.8 milligrams. 1 minute times 60, we have 60 minutes. And we can say, okay, well, 60 minutes, that's 1 hour. So I can put 1 hour down here. And so let me rewrite this little block of text. I've got, now my value is 16.8 milligrams per 1 hour. Okay. This matches my medications units. My medications units is in milligrams. I've got this in hour. This rate has to be in per hour. So it's really good. Now that we're here, we can finally plug it into our last part of the formula. Let's take our rate, 16.8 milligrams. You could take 16.8. Divide by the medication. Our medication is 400. So 16.8 divided by 400 times our volume. Our volume was 250. Multiplied by 250. So 16.8 divided by 400 times 250 gives us 10.5. And so this is 10.5 milliliters per hour. And once we're here, they want us to round to the whole number, 10.5 milliliters per hour. Once rounded to the whole number, this is my whole number down here. That's my spotlight. I'll shine a light I'll look to the right of it. It is 5 or greater. So we're at 11 milliliters per hour. And there's our answer. So our answer is 11 milliliters per hour, rounded from 10.5 milliliters per hour. And so this is writing out every single step. This is including the formula. We'll take a look at some more examples after this one.